Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Liam. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a question I actually got asked by my friend David earlier, who is a very fine guitarist in his own right. But he asked me, Liam, how do you shred? Like, how do you shred on guitar? And that kind of got me thinking, like, how do you? Let's break it down. What I think that means. But disclaimer: I do not consider myself to be a shred guitarist. Um, I'm using this Jackson right now. It's actually my girlfriend's because it is a shred guitar, in my opinion. It had a lot of guitars for this type of music have 24 frets, high gain pickups, um, smaller frets. Jackson, very popular brand for shredders, and I think of shred guitar as just being very technical, very fast, usually in the rock genre or maybe the jazz fusion genre of guitar playing. So how do you do it? Well, first things first, when you're a beginner, I do not think it is worth investing that much time in. I think there's a lot more important things. I think learning rhythm guitar is more important. I think that learning how to solo with feel and learning how to improvise and learning scales is a lot more important. And I think the people that from an early age try and learn how to shred right out the gate, they just want to be as quick as they can. They lose a lot in their guitar playing, especially in their bends and their vibrato, which I made a video on that probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I'm going to put it in the description if you guys want to check that out. So, but let's dive into shred guitar. And like I said, I'm not making this a video that I'm going to edit, so if I'm kind of jumbling what I say or anything, I apologize, but I just kind of wanted to get this done and over with. All right, so technique. That's what I think of when I think of shred guitar. I'm going to break down 4 techniques that I think are essential to being flashy. So I'm going to kind of go in order of most basic, I guess, in my opinion, to the most difficult. So we're going to start with the first technique, which would be alternate picking. This can build you a lot of speed and also makes your playing a little more aggressive. And all alternate picking is you're alternating between an upstroke and a downstroke, like that. That's how you're picking. So for example, just on the open high E, you would get a sound such as this. That's alternate picking. So we get I'm sorry if I'm a little sloppy, like I said, this isn't necessarily my forte, but so alternate picking, yeah. Can you kind of see what I'm doing there? And like I said, I'm a mess right now. I was probably not even playing in key, but that's all it is. Upstroke and downstroke, and that's kind of how I'm getting all those sounds right there. Essential to making your stuff sound fast, very quick. Paul Gilbert is a great resource for alternate picking. I guess the next technique I'd want to talk about is probably legato. Legato is the opposite of alternate picking because you're not, instead of picking every note, you're picking very few. This would be an example of legato. See how I wasn't even using a pick on that? A lot of people who get really good and take their time with legato can get to that point in their playing where they don't have to use a pick at all. Guys like Richie Kotzen, I've seen him do legato with no hand, and it's pretty crazy. Joe Satriani is another guy. But here's an example of me. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be picking the first note on each string. This is going to be kind of like a 5-string lick, starting at A, going down to high E. So again, it's tricky to get down, especially those big wide stretches I was doing. I mean, that's not an easy stretch. But less legato. And then next thing I'm going to talk about, I guess, would be tapping. This is popularized by Eddie Van Halen, obviously. Although not the first person to do it, but he did popularize it. And honestly, this is not a terribly hard technique, at least the way I'd use it. I use it more similar to Eddie Van Halen, but there are guys who, like Chris Broderick, who do, and Buckethead as well, do like 8-finger tapping. I'm not going to cover that. I haven't learned that or had to do that. But yeah, tapping is when you're essentially doing a hammer-on pull-off. And then you're pressing down on another fret, and you can use your pointer finger. I actually use my middle finger because I like to hold my pick regular. So you see what I'm doing? And like I said, I'm not great at explaining things. Yeah, I know this is not a good video, but exaggerating the techniques right now. I'm not really trying to play something groundbreaking or very intricate. I'm just showing you how they sound, and I'm kind of using this as a resource to go find someone to teach these techniques a little more in depth than I do, because I don't have very much teaching experience, well, really none at all. But that's what tapping is. I think you guys can kind of, if you want to leave a request on me to do this more in depth, but you gotta press down pretty hard. You can't just brush it. It's not like you're not really hearing it when I'm just like brushing it a little, but you really gotta. Of course, the most famous being. Alright, and last but not least, sweep picking. Sweep picking, when I was first getting into guitar playing, sweep picking was like, that was like the end-all, be-all technique. Like, I kind of equated to like in bodybuilding, when when you first start out, being able to bench 225 pounds is like a crazy goal to have, even though, well, once you get there, you realize it's pretty realistic. So I'll just, you're literally pretty much just, that's all it is, sweeping. Now, where it gets hard is synchronizing both hands. Um, so basically, sweeping licks are basically just chords being broken down. You know, here's a D chord. That's a D major sweep, I think. That's all it is, but it does get tricky. So I recommend taking it very slow. Here's another popular one that someone like Yngwie Malmsteen might use. So yeah, those are the 4 techniques that I think pretty much are what am I trying to say? Techniques that when I think of shred, those are pretty much the flashy techniques. Obviously, there's more. I didn't talk about harmonics at all, pinch harmonics, natural harmonics. I didn't talk about whammy bar use, which a lot of shred guitarists, they use the whammy bar in specific ways. But those are just 4 techniques that I think after you get your bends good and your vibrato good and basic soloing and improvising good, maybe take a dive into those techniques and build up some speed, add them into your own playing, or to help you learn solos that are more difficult, because chances are that's some of the stuff you're having trouble with in your playing is your alternate picking, your legato, tapping, or sweep picking. And like I said, the shred genre in as a whole is kind of something I don't feel too connected with, but I am able to play quicker than certain people, but I still consider myself more of like a blues bass player. But I guess I do straddle the line, so I just kind of wanted to share some of my knowledge from just um, building my own technique over the years. And like I said, plenty of resources on the internet. Rick Graham, Paul Gilbert has a ton of instructional videos. So, yeah. Leave a request. If anybody has anything they want to hear me do a lesson on, subscribe, share. And yeah, I'm not much of a video editor. I don't enjoy it too much, so I'm just gonna release this as is and see what happens.